I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Caldwell County Department of Social Services, and we'll get started by giving the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody will stand with me and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have Pastor Chris Helderman from the Center Grove Baptist Church, who has come to deliver our invitation. Welcome. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for the invitation to come and give the invocation, and thank your department for what you do each and every day for the citizens of Caldwell County. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Right now, we ask for wisdom and discernment for this board and this group as they make decisions. And Lord, we pray for the Department of Social Services as they impact the lives of those who are in need, those who are vulnerable, and those who just need assistance as they move through their daily life. God, I pray that you protect each employee as they go through their day, and God, be with them as they carry out the mission they have in their job. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are not.
There are not. All right, then I need to make a motion. Somebody make a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. All right, and then I need an approval of the minutes from last meeting.
I'll make the motion. I second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we have our customer service appreciation, Brandy Hood from Economic Services Administrator.
So I'm just going to say a few words about our customer service department. Ms. Mary Patterson leads that area and does a fantastic job. Customer service is one of the most important parts of our agency, or one of the most important areas of our agency. I think one of the things I think about tonight when we were preparing for what to say, and just talking through what we're going to talk about tonight, I thought about our DSNAP, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, our DSNAP adventures we had last week, and how really, the tone of that whole event was set by the people who met and greeted all of the participants who came in. We had so many compliments about how warm and welcoming and supportive everyone seemed, and it came from everyone who worked there, but that was the first exposure that they had. And I think that's what customer service really is. I think that, if you don't have those warm, welcoming, and helpful people in those roles, then it really sets the stage for how your agency is viewed by the public. I think it sets the tone for not just how we're viewed, but also the tone for any future interactions people have with others in the agency. If they don't feel respected when they first come in that door, they're carrying that with them throughout any other interactions they have in the agency. I've said multiple times they're the face of our agency, and I truly mean that. I can't say how important that is. Not only do they have to be that welcoming personality, but they also have to possess knowledge of all of the different, not in-depth knowledge, but enough of every program and service that our agency provides. And not only our agency, but also the community. Because there's a lot of times people come in and we can't help them, but there may be something in the community that can. And so those individuals have to have a working knowledge of all those too. And so we have high expectations for our customer service folks, and they meet those expectations. And so we truly appreciate everything that they do.
I'll just add that, echo everything that Kim said, but our agency as a whole could not run without our customer service team. They help in all areas, multiple different ways. So like she said, the appreciation is so much for them. And then Mary is going to talk to you guys a little bit about customer service, what they do, the different duties, and all of that.
Ms. Patterson, how long have you been in customer service with us?
4 years.
4.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 years.
And were you in the agency prior to that in a different
Yes,
capacity?
yes. I started out food nutrition worker, then
Okay.
went to program integrity, then customer service.
Okay,
So,
all right.
all right, let's see. Well, good afternoon, members of the board and Ms. Arnett. Okay, we're just going to get right into it. And, okay, customer service. And I just did prepare this short presentation. And Ms. Arnett and Ms. Hood did say a lot of things that, I was going to say about customer service being the first person that you see or the first voice that you hear. And we do set the tone overall for those interactions that continue throughout, a customer's life with us. So customer service, what is customer service? Well, it's exactly what it says, service to our customers. And our customers are people walking to the agency, calling to the agency, other workers, supervisors, and other agencies and entities we partner with. Because so many times people think that customers are just the people that come into the agency or we call, but we are each other's customers. We provide customer service to each other because as we work together and talk with each other, so that is just something, it goes beyond just whom we're helping coming in, but it's all of us. We are each other's customers. Who we are, well, we have one supervisor. We have an agency interpreter, which is under customer service, Spanish. We have 2 front desk workers on the first floor, and we have a mail clerk. We also have another front desk worker on the second floor, and she doubles as our mail clerk. We have a switchboard operator. And then we have 2 IMCs, which are income maintenance caseworkers, and they see clients that come into the agency for the programmatic workers so that those workers can continue on working with applications, reviews, so they can help them, do what they need to do. What we do. Now, I didn't categorize all our duties by position, but this is an inclusive list of what we do as customer service. We direct calls to the appropriate program or worker. We assign 200 numbers and client card numbers for social workers. We scan all return mail to the NC Fast. We interpret for Spanish-speaking customers in the house, home visits, and on calls at courthouse. We translate letters and forms in Spanish. We collect the mail twice daily within the agency. We do daily off-site runs to the post office, the courthouse, human resource office, and when applicable, the bank and FedEx. We count and log and date stamp all the mail into the agency from the post office. We disperse mail to the appropriate workers' boxes. We accept payments for overpayments and any other applicable fees, such as child support applications. We receipt and log all monies come to the agency. We direct clients or customers for assistance to the applicable program and workers. We scan mail given by customers to the programs. We date stamp all mail received from customers. We assign online county transfers. We complete transfers ins and transfer outs that come to the agency. We see customers for the workers to allow the workers to continue doing what they do. We note cases in NC Fast when customers are seen. We receive faxes from the agency. We assign online tasks to workers. We maintain coverage at all times. We issue and renew fishing license. And we also do voter registration applications. So that we really do a lot. And it's a lot of different things, yes, within the agency. Our goal, and this is something that we come up with a few years ago within our customer service team to support the agency mission statement. And our goal is to come together collectively by helping one another, respecting one another, and supporting one another as a team, ensuring services to families and individuals to the best of our ability to deliver optimal customer service. And that is the goal that we came up with within our team. We're more than just a department, and there's a saying, customer service is more than just a department, it's an attitude. So I always like to leave people with this question. If customer service were just like me, what kind of customer service would it be? And that's something for us to all think about. And that's all about customer service. Do I have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
I know, good job.
I didn't realize that you guys dealt with voter registration at all. That's totally
Yes, we are a
new to me. I
public
didn't know
service
that.
agency, so yes, we
Okay.
do. We
And so you're
do.
probably somewhat busy right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
in
have.
that area.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Well, thank you.
Oh, yes. Okay. Now for the energy.
Yeah, so we'll move on to reports.
Oh, she's going to stay in here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She's gonna
Okay.
stay.
Sorry. I forgot. That's not
That's
written
okay.
down. All right. Special assistance in-home, Beverly Rupert is going.
Mary is going to stay and do
And
the
do it
reports.
instead
She
of
just
Beverly.
did a customer service, so she's going to stay and do that emergency assistance report.
Okay.
A, so that she'll be doing that for us tonight.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
And then we'll
Okay.
move to the special assistant.
I got you.
So I'm
Then we
also
move on.
energy assistant.
Okay, that part
Mary
I was
wears a lot of hats.
You wear too many hats for me to keep up with, Mary. Okay, I got you.
Okay, energy assistance. What are we about? We are about helping individuals and families that may be experiencing needs with heating or cooling with their rent and selected medical needs with medicines. And we're about helping to remove the crisis that an individual or family is experiencing. We have 5 main programs within our energy program. We have SIP, and we're going to go in depth later on in this presentation. We have the SIP, which is a crisis intervention program. We have LEAP, which is low energy assistance program, and it provides a one-time annual vendor payment to help eligible families pay for their heating expense. We have United Way, WAFA EA, which is Workforce Family Assistance, Energy Assistance, and Operation Roundup, which is for Blue Ridge customers only. Okay, our SIP program, it serves individuals and families who are experiencing or in danger of experiencing a heating or cooling related crisis. So that runs from year round. And of course, our year is from July 2024 to June 2025. So in the summer months, we help with cooling. Winter months, we help with heating. Households must have a pass-through disconnection or in danger of disconnection. They must meet income requirements. And in our SIP program, each household is allowed up to $600 in 1 year. So if a household comes in and say they have a high electric bill, $600, we pay that out, then they have used all their SIP monies that's allotted for that household. Say if they come in for $250, they can come back in. It doesn't matter how many times they apply, but they can only allow
It can't
$600.
exceed $600, yeah.
Exactly. Next, we have our LEAP program. This is another big program, but it runs from December 2024 through March 2025 or until the funds are exhausted. And this is just a one-time vendor payment to that vendor, but it's for heating only, and it's for their main source of heat. So we're preparing for that. It's going to be coming up. The time frame, of course, I said it's December. Now, December 1st, it's for anybody 60 and over or receiving services through DOS. And then all other households can apply January. So that runs through March or until we run out of monies for that. And they do get increments of $300, $400, or $500. And it goes straight to the vendor through the energy portal. They're not handed money personally. So,
Mary,
Yes.
can you repeat? It's a one-time.
Yes, a
annual,
one-time.
So they can only get that one time
yeah, for
during that
LEAP,
season.
yes, it's one time.
Per
SIP,
season.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, within the year.
Okay.
Operation Roundup is one of the smaller programs that we have. It is for Blue Ridge customers. There's a cap, $75 for electric and $150 for oil. Blue Ridge determines the eligibility. A customer comes in, says, I want Operation Roundup. We call them, they let us know if they're eligible or not. And this also is a one-time year assistance. And they must have a pass-through or disconnect notice as well for that. United Way. Now, for United Way, that's really for anybody. There is no income limit. And 100 is a maximum that we allow, or maybe a little over, with the approval of a supervisor. And we assist with rent and utilities with United Way. WAFA EA is our last program. This one's a little bit different. It has a little bit more stringent restrictions and requirements. You must have a child in the home 18 years or younger. You must be willing to pursue child support or already have a child support order. You must have income in the home to receive this. And it mainly assists with rent and utilities. And then that maximum allowable allowance is about $300 per year. So. And the ways that you can apply for any of these programs, you can come into the office, or you can do online e-pass, and we have the site there, or by telephone, or by calling in, which since that the state has allowed us to do telephone applications, that has really increased. And I would say maybe not half, but almost half of our applications are phone applications. So it has really, really, really increased a lot. And also by mail, they can mail an application if they receive one. So those are the ways that they can apply. So any questions?
So can you have multiple, can you be covered under multiple?
Yes,
Okay, I
you
just didn't
can.
know if once you're covered under one, that.
No,
You're
multiple
okay.
programs. So we can
Okay.
do like, say, SIP, and then if the crisis is not met completely, we can look at United Way.
Okay.
But we cannot help a family if that crisis is not alleviated. Say someone comes with a $1,000 bill. They can't pay the extra, none of our partners can pay, then we can't do anything because we're not getting that family out of crisis.
Okay.
So, and we do partner with, I didn't put that, so we partner with many partners. Jokeville is our main partner with Sharon Harmon. So we have many people that we do reach out to. And as Kim said, there are a lot of resources in our workers. We have 2 workers, Rebecca Billings and Amanda Carswell, and they are really good with reaching out in the community when we can't assist or more assistance is needed. So.
What is the turnaround time frame from the time somebody walks in the door or submits an application to
Okay.
when they know whether or not they've been approved?
Okay, for a SIP application, which is crisis, we have 2 days to dispose the application. Or if it's a disconnect or there's a health-related crisis, 18 hours, which really is 1 day. So then they're sending a letter, but a lot of times we call and let them know. So, yeah, the SIP program is very quick. It's a quick
I was
turnaround.
going to say, that's fast, yeah.
And then when you have to get information, we really work. So,
Yeah.
but they do a great job of what they do.
And if
To-
somebody does an application by phone, do they then have to submit some form of information to you guys about their income or that kind of thing?
Yeah, they have to provide information, but there are other ways we can get information. Say if they have, say, a food nutrition case, if income is current, we can go by that. And also we run online verifications, and we can look at that and see as well. So there are ways that we can get information too if the client doesn't have that information. Any more questions? Did I
Any other
answer you?
questions? I think we're good.
Well, thank you
Thank
for
you,
taking
Ms.
the time to
Patterson.
listen. Thank you.
Thank you. We're appreciative of all you do.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, next is Special Assistance in-home with Beverly Rupert, and then Adult Services Program Administrator, and April Wiles Williamson, Adult Services Supervisor.
Okay. We just kind of wanted to hit on our in-home, special assistance in-home program. There's been a lot of changes with this program in the last couple of years. SA in-home is a Medicaid-eligible program. If you're eligible for special assistance Medicaid, then you're eligible for special assistance in-home. The only requirement is that you have to be at a rest home level of care. We have to have a form from a physician stating your rest home level of care. If you're rest home level of care, then you're eligible for the program. The program is a monthly stipend. I don't know, how much is that? Does it vary, or is
It
it?
varies depending on if you get a straight SA with no dementia diagnosis or the enhanced rate, and that's a dementia diagnosis.
Okay. And you use that money for whatever you need. The purpose of it is to allow you to have the resources you need to stay safe in your home. When I first came to the agency, this program, you had to be eligible, a social worker had to go out and assess your home, do a budget with you, and determine could your needs be met by the program, informed you of how you would have to spend the money. It was a lifeline, an aid, meals, electricity, and now there's no budget, no assessment. You go out, make sure the home is safe,
Yes.
and then we do quarterly visits. There's no budget, there's, I guess we're more or less just,
We're social workers that go out into the home to make sure that the adult is safe in the home and provide all the resources that would keep them safe in the home, such as if they needed a ramp, we would provide that, that referral so they can stay safe, if that's what they choose. They have to they have to let us know that their desire is to stay in the community, as well as they have to be safe in the home.
Can I say something real quick? I just want to, so when Beverly says that it used to be different, it just recently changed. And so, and they're going to talk about that in just a minute. But a couple of things that, the only things really now that an adult needs is a form from the doctor saying that they are safe in this level of care, and it's a specific form. And then they have to meet certain eligibility income requirements.
Yep.
And like April said, their home has to be safe for them to live there. And that's the things that our social workers have to monitor in those quarterly visits. Because if we have an adult who, and we were just talking about this today, if we have an adult who's living in the home and let's say their health or their mental status has declined to a point where they're no longer safe to be in this home by themselves, and we go out there and we see something that maybe they're self-neglecting because they can't care for themselves, then we have to make other arrangements and plans for that adult. So,
I think the big difference too is it used to be you were only eligible for the program if you had a need. Now, if you're eligible for SA Medicaid, you're automatically eligible for this program.
yeah, they call it an entitlement program now.
It's an entitlement program. There's not as much paperwork for the social worker as there used to be, but they still have to do their quarterly visits, make sure they're safe. We're still providing case management. We're more or less just not budgeting for them. We're allowing them to take that money and do with it what they believe they need. Since January to October, we have had an 85% increase in cases.
Oh, wow.
Now that everyone is eligible, in January of last year, we had 21. This month, we have 38 with 5 pending. Wow. So we are seeing it was 85% jump. If those 5 approved, then that's over 100%. Some counties are seeing the same. Some counties aren't seeing as much. Kim did reach out to other counties to see that. But it is a program that is just, it's going to increase.
Yeah.
Beverly, do you guys know how much of that is related to the transitions to community living, like the TCL program and the
Quite a
Olmsted
bit.
Act? Is
Quite a bit.
what it's kind of driving it?
Yes, but VIA has their own, they have their program, which is SAN Home, and those are separate numbers versus ours.
Yes. We used to have to keep track of their numbers too, but we don't have to do that anymore because there's not slots anymore. Used to, our county would get so many slots and there would be a waiting list, but now you're not allowed to have slots. If they're eligible, they have the FL2, you deem that it's safe, they're on the program. So
Yeah.
there's no waiting list. And it's a great program. There are a lot of people out there, who are, especially older people who they're just skirting by on their Social Security and they need that lifeline or they need that aid to come in and help clean. So it's a great program.
And the
but
intention is to ensure that somebody is able to stay at home safely and not have
have to
go
place
into
them in a
higher
facility.
level of care.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the whole goal.
Are you in touch with also maybe family members who are closely connected to these people, if there is somebody like that, so you can sort of get feedback from them as well?
Yes, my social workers will contact the next of kin or the emergency contact. They will also contact providers.
That's good.
To see their progress, to see if there is any decline. We see them quarterly, but we also talk to them on the phone monthly.
Okay. Because I was going to say, that's kind of hard to deduce sometimes and just to
The
visit.
state mandates that we see them quarterly. Our county policy is that we see them quarterly.
But you're
We
in
would like them to
touch.
be seen monthly. If they can't be seen monthly, then at least a telephone call.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they do have a quarterly visit.
Okay.
We try to keep APS out of the home. We try to make sure that they get the services that they need in the home.
And what she means by that is that they try to prevent any kind of protective services
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
Yes.
From
And that's-
occurring with that adult.
And having that social worker allows, her to try to fix it before it gets to that point.
That's
And we also are aware that if we see them declining in health and that they're going to need a higher level of care, we can start talking to the family about that. So,
I think what our struggles are right now, just as an agency, is the significant increase in the number
Oh.
of individuals who are on this program.
So that's so many more cases per
Right.
worker.
So I
And
think a
this-
full caseload is
It's
35?
30, it's 25 to 30.
Okay, 25 to
So,
30.
Yeah, I have one full caseload, and then I have one individual that's doing 10, and then another doing 5.
Yeah, so we're having to spread this out, and if this caseload grows much more, I don't know that we're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a great program, and we want to offer it. It is a struggle right now for the social workers to be able to.
And you're going to have your
handle it.
clients that you talk to on the phone, you see quarterly, and that's it. They
they're
just,
fine. Yeah.
easy. But then you're going to have your clients who really struggle.
Yeah.
Who need that case management, who are constantly calling, they're needing something. So, like with any caseload, it varies.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
I think that's it.
Any other questions?
Any questions for either one, April or Beverly? Nope? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Okay, it is time for our financial report with Chris Conley,
Good
our
afternoon.
business officer.
Looking at our financial report for September, reimbursements in the month totaled $1,088,392. We ended the month with receivables at just under $1,070,000. Expenses for the month totaled $1,336,424. So our county dollar utilized in the month was just over $248,000. Looking at the year-to-date, current year compared to prior year, expenses are up almost $460,000. Revenues are up about $45,000. So our county dollar is actually up $412,000 year-to-date. So I identified a few reasons to explain that. County dollar increase in staff expense and foster care expense accounts for a good portion of that increase. But also factoring in is, as I've mentioned every month recently, the $223,000 of Medicaid expansion funding we were fronted last year, which
Right.
was not fronted this year. So that just kind of has our county dollar skewed, and that will continue for a few more months. In the current year, we're drawing down that money monthly. And in the first 2 months of the year, for July and August service reimbursed in August and September, we drew down about $75,000 in expansion funding. And again, at this point last year, we'd received $223,000. So
Yeah.
that's having a little impact on us. But 6 to 8 months in the year, that will kind of have evened out and won't be the impact that it is at this point in the year. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, now it's time for our director's report with Kim Arnett.
Okay, so let's start with our personnel report. We've had some transition. A couple of the vacant positions you see since last meeting are folks who have just moved within the agency. One of those you will see is a retirement. Lori Holler has decided to retire. So yes, we all had the same reaction.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're certainly sad to see
yeah,
Lori
sure
go. She's going to be with us to the end of the year. But yeah, she's made the decision to go and start her new adventures. And so we're very happy for her. Of course, we're not. We're sad for us, but happy
Yeah.
for her. And then our restart position, that is a position that we share with Restart. And so we fund half that position, they fund half that position. So at this point, I think Restart is wanting to reevaluate what they're doing with that position. So we're just waiting to hear from them to see what it is exactly our role in that will be. And so just waiting on that one. And then, of course, we have some other positions that we will be filling. We're still trying to fill our new positions that we got through Medicaid expansion. We have been a little preoccupied with the hurricane and with our DSNAP, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, over the past month or so. So that hiring has just slowed down and interviewing has just slowed down a tad.
So Kim, if I look at this right,
Uh-huh.
are two of those vacant positions because of staff moved into other positions?
Yes, two of them are.
So
So
they
we had
stayed
one
within
of our
the agency.
investigators, assessors move into an in-home, more of a case manager type role. He moved into that position, and then one of our daytime assessor investigators moved to our on-call position, which we were very happy about. That particular staff person had entertained that idea a while back and then thought, I don't know if I want to. And then Laura had an idea of letting her try it out, and she ended up loving it. And we like someone who's been with the agency
Yeah.
for a while to move into an on-call position because of that experience and being able to work independently while also having a relationship with our, law enforcement, other community agencies, because those are the times where you really have interaction with some of the other community agencies after hours. So we were happy about that. Any questions about our personnel report?
I don't have any. Anybody else? No.
Okay. There is, I talked a little bit about our recruitment efforts, and I have talked a couple times about a video that we've been putting together for our recruitment. And so we're going to play that for you guys and would love your feedback on it. This is something that we're going to push out on social media. We're also going to do some smaller clips, maybe 5, I'm not sure, 10-second clips that we're going to put out on different platforms. This is something that we've thought about taking a laptop to our different job fairs and letting this play so that people can watch and hear it. And so I want y'all to take a look and see what you think about it.
Here at the Caldwell County Department of Social Services, our mission is twofold: to help families and individuals optimize their self-reliance and self-sufficiency, as well as to protect vulnerable people, particularly children, older adults, and the disabled from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. We would love for you to join us in this mission. We have a variety of employment opportunities with varying requirements of experience and education.
So in child welfare, we have mostly jobs that need 4-year degrees. There are several that you can have a 2-year degree or a high school diploma. And those would be for people that may want to start a position to get a feel for child welfare to see if that's something you want to move on into a social work degree. We have positions in child welfare through intake, and those are social workers that field those calls that come in from the community to make reports. And so they're gathering that detailed information to see if we need to go out and check on children. Then we have assessor positions, and in those positions, again, those are 4-year degrees, and they are the first people that knock on those doors when they go out and to determine what's going on, really get in there with the families, provide those services. We have positions that are in ongoing services through in-home, and those are where families are in need of the more intensive services that we offer for child protection. And we're there more often, weekly usually, if not every other week at least. And we also have permanency planning, which most people will know as foster care. And those children that are in our custody here at DSS, and we are working with families to try to get those children back home. Reunification is our first priority, our #1 goal, and trying to get those children home. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and then we look at alternatives. And so that could be custody or guardianship with other family members, or close friends of family. And if that is not an option, then we also look at adoption. And so we have those social workers as well working with families to make permanency for children. We also have social work positions in adult services, and so those are investigators that are going out and looking into those allegations for adults abuse, neglect, or exploitation. And then we also have social workers that are in positions in adult services for those adults that may not have family or friends to assist in caring for them, and those adults may need a guardian to look after them. And so during that time, we may have to step in and make those decisions for those adults. With all those positions, that would include you going out into the community to see families, knocking on the door, going out to the houses. You may have to go to schools, seeing children there, going out in the community settings like hospitals potentially. You may go into rest home facilities as well. Most of our positions also have to go to court at times. And then just working with other community agencies, so you may be going out to a church to see how they can assist a family, Yoke Fellow, a shelter home, just seeing what benefit services they can offer to a family, and maybe taking a family to those community agencies as well, to see what services can be offered and put in place for those families.
Here at Caldwell County DSS, we offer several jobs in our economic service area that you do not have to have a college degree. Some of these jobs are called income maintenance caseworker. They are in our Medicaid department, our food and nutrition department, child care, emergency assistance. In those positions, they're called the income maintenance caseworker. You determine eligibility using budgeting, using critical thinking, and problem solving. We also offer other classifications that do not require a degree for our child support department and our staff development department. With staff development, we have on-the-job training. They work with you individually to make sure that you get the adequate training through all of these positions. All of these jobs at Caldwell County DSS make you feel so rewarded to be able to assist the families that we do.
Here in this area, what I really like is, especially at the DSS office, is the benefits. They have amazing benefits where I have been employed elsewhere, and compared to here, it's a lot better, and they're a lot more family-oriented.
Caldwell County is a great place to work. Even if you don't live in the county, you can still come to work here. The people are great to work with. Our whole unit is just like a family. We care about each other. We struggle with each other. We lift each other up. The benefits are amazing. The leave time, the longevity, just the appreciation that you feel from the county.
We have a real commitment to innovation and progress. I think our entire administrative team, our entire management team also has that commitment to innovation and progress, and wanting to learn, wanting to make positive changes in the way that we do things.
Caldwell County may be a small county, but they are starting to do more initiatives with the state. They're looking at new ways to improve employee relationships, community relationships, and so that's why I urge you to give us a chance, give us a thought, and explore your options here in Caldwell County.
We have a wonderful training program, which a lot of North Carolina departments of social services do not have. We have an entire team for training.
But there are opportunities for you to grow and to advance, depending on how hard you want to work or what you want to do. And Caldwell County provides those opportunities. So.
But we're all willing to help, like from your trainer, once you join your team, everyone around you. We want everyone to succeed.
It's a hard field. Social work is difficult. You've got to be with an agency that you feel like supports you. I feel like this county as a whole is supportive to its employees. I feel like they want what's best for their employees. They'll advocate for them. You need the support of a good county and a good agency.
Right, the job is very hard, and it's important that we give our staff time to relax and time to de-stress. Another way that we worked on that is we have 3 therapy dogs in the building, and 2 of them are in training right now, and we think that's a good way to boost them around, just to create a positive atmosphere and a more relaxing work environment. And we've had some very positive feedback about that.
There's a lot of aspects that go into this, and it's more than just the social work idea of, I'm just interacting with families, or I'm just, providing resources. You're providing a bunch of community things that you never thought about. And so for me, this job is so interesting because when you actually get to it and you get to do it, you realize there's so many aspects that social work covers that you would have never expected. And so I think it's important that people kind of understand that sometimes you go to college and you get a degree and you come out with a degree and you're like, I don't really know if I want to do anything with this at this point. But I think it's really something where if you major in something, to kind of look at social work as maybe I can find a way to utilize my degree over here. And I think every field can really bring something special to this kind of job.
There are exciting things to do as far as helping clients. You meet a diverse group of people around the community. No one day is alike. And share your talents with people who need them.
At the end of the day, though, there's a lot of fulfillment. Whether you can help people or you feel like you accomplished maybe what you were set out to do, there's joy and fulfillment when you're able to invest in other people. Whether they take that investment and flourish with it, or whether they take that investment and throw it out the window, at least you're able to invest in others.
It's a position, it's a career, it's a calling to want to help others, to want to be that change agent for others. Come join our team!
Well done. That was excellent, yeah.
It's a little long, but for what it is, of course, well, I'll wait till it stops before I continue. But it's a little, it's long for just to push out on social media only, but I think for, a YouTube video or for someone who's really interested and wants to go in and just, okay, what is it like working there? I think.
I thought it was so well done. I love that you go and you get a cross-section of the different employees, and I love that they are real in their answers. I really like that it wasn't all scripted, I really like that, and that they tell the real part of it. But
good.
Very well done.
Our public information area had just helped us tremendously with this. And the answers were unscripted. We honestly, I'm not even sure how. I think we just took volunteers, and some we were like, you're going to talk to them. And so, they gave what answers they wanted to give, and I think it turned out. I know some people are, they don't want to see themselves on TV, me included, but I think it turned out well.
I think it did, and I'm anxious to see what kind of response this gets. Yeah.
Yep.
Well done. Okay. All right. So now we have Children's Services and Adult Highlights with Laura Harrison, Child Welfare Program Administrator. Good job, Laura. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you did a good job.
So good afternoon. I'll go over our numbers. I don't have them to display tonight, so I'll just have to read them all aloud. Yay. So in September, we had 161 calls that came through Child Protective Services line. 57 cases were accepted to be investigated. We had 24 assists that came through. And again, to remind everybody, those assists are throughout the state, and it can be other states that may have asked as well. 16 cases were open in in-home services, 4 in-home assists. Foster care, we had 148 children experiencing foster care. 3 adoptions were finalized in September, and we had 18 foster homes and 9 relative kinship homes. And you'll see my report looks a little different this month. I don't have the bottom section, and that's because Beverly is going to do that part when she speaks. I don't have a lot of highlights. We're tired. We've worked really hard from the hurricane and from DSNAP, and I think Brandy's going to give you some more information about DSNAP. But so I don't really have anything else to update you guys on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
It really was all hands on deck, so all of Child Services were wrapped up with that too.
Yeah, okay. Now we have Adult Services Highlights with Beverly Rupert, Adult Services Program Administrator.
Hey again.
Hello again.
I listed more numbers than you're usually used to getting because I wanted to list all of our areas so you could become familiar with those, okay? So for September, we received 39 APS reports. We screened in 22 of those, and then we had 3 outreach. Outreach is a screened out report that we feel at high risk, so we will send a social worker out to assess it. It's not a state mandated program. It's something we do as a county for the public. As far as guardianship, we currently have 44 wards in September, and we had 2 guardianship referrals. Special assistance in-home, that's the program I just spoke about. We have 37 currently. Our VPA, voluntary placement agreement, that's our 18 to 21 foster care program. We currently have 6 clients. Adult home specialist, we have adult home specialist who monitors the rest homes in our county. And for the month of September, we had 3 complaints that were investigated.
Can you say a little bit about which ones they monitor and which ones they don't monitor?
They monitor just the rest homes, Grandview, Daily Cares, Share Center, Assisted Living, Grace Village, Brockford, Brookdale. There's 6, yes. We monitor those. A social worker has to go in quarterly and monitor them, but also if someone has a complaint, they call into us and our adult home specialist investigates that complaint. So we had 3 complaints for September. Placement services, that's where a family, if they need help or a person wants placement in a facility, it can be assisted living or rest home, we assist with that. We had 1 referral for that. And then we had 1 service referral. A lot of those we get from law enforcement when they call and they're just like, well, this doesn't meet APS report, but I need somebody to at least come out and check on them. So that's the service referral. We have currently 5 Lifeline clients and 2 clients in the adult life program. Any questions?
Any questions? Anybody? No?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Beverly. All right, and lastly, we have Family Support Services highlights with Brandy Hood, Economic Services Administrator.
So I'm just going to go over the numbers for September, and then I'll get into some of the highlights. So for food and nutrition, we had 555 applications submitted with 11,322 individuals. And the total services paid out was $1,706,751. For child care services, we only received 3 applications because they're currently on a waiting list. So we received a lot more, but they go on the waiting list. So we only actually submitted 3. We served 737 children, and the total was $250,032. For our Family and Children's Medicaid program, we had 417 applications submitted with 20,858 individuals served. For adult Medicaid, we had 141 applications submitted with 8,294 active cases. For our Work First Family Assistance, there was 38 applications submitted with 26 individuals currently receiving. For our child support services, we have 2,580 active cases, and the total collections for the month was $434,350. For emergency assistance, there was 197 applications submitted with 113 telephone calls in regarding emergency assistance, and then we paid out $50,978.48 in those services. For customer service, there were 2,080 individuals served at the front desk, and there was 3,992 individuals served through our switchboard. So I'm going to go over a little bit some different updates, and then I'll go over more of the DSNAP stuff. So currently, like I said, we are still on a waiting list for child care. That has not been lifted at this time. So we're just accepting those applications and placing those families on waiting lists until the state gives us the okay to lift that. We also received, due to the influx of workloads due to the disaster and things like that, we received waivers for multiple programs to extend recertifications to kind of help with the DSNAP and the other programs that we had a heavier workload. So we got some waivers for our Medicaid, we got waivers for food and nutrition, we got waivers for child care to extend those recertifications to allow those workers to focus on more of the DSNAP and replacements and things like that. I want to go over a little bit of what replacements are for food and nutrition recipients. So if a recipient is currently receiving food and nutrition services, they were not eligible for our disaster DSNAP program, but they were eligible for replacement benefits. So they may have just went and got groceries, the power went out, they lost everything in their freezer, fridge, so they are eligible for that replacement. At this time, I don't have an exact number, but I can tell you it's over 1,000 replacements that's been completed since September for those FNS recipients that are currently receiving. I'm going to have an exact number for you guys next month because we're still working on those.
Do they get, is it a full replacement of what their current
So
initial benefits were?
Yeah, so the state went in and done a 70% replacement, but if we received an actual form, we have a form that they have to fill out. If we received that form and it was more than that 70%, we had to give them the other 30% to give them 100% of their replacement. And that kind of gave some confusion to all of us because we would go back and forth with the state of how that should work, because at first we wasn't supposed to, then we was, but we was able to get that clarified, and now we are getting those completed as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I'll just say that the state did a mass replacement. So they go in the system and they generate it so we don't have to touch it, which was fantastic. But then they come back and say, well, if they want more than the 70%, you're going to have to go into every case and put that additional amount in the system. And so that's what they've been working on diligently, is those extra 1,000 that wanted additional replacement benefits. We've had to go in and do that because the USDA only approved for 70% mass replacement.
So they've been extremely busy, and I want to say that we appreciate everything that Child Services and Adult Services has done, and our accounting department, everyone within the agency has helped tremendously with this program. Kim and Laura, they've both done replacements for me. I mean, it's been all hands on deck, truly. So I want to share the appreciation of all that. But for our DSNAP program, I don't know, do you want to speak first?
So let's just talk a little bit about what DSNAP is. And so it is a disaster food nutrition program. And so what happens is the USDA has to say that certain counties qualify for this DSNAP program. And a lot of it is when they are deemed I want to say it's individually affected county where there's a state of emergency. And so then the USDA says, okay, this program is, we can see that your counties would qualify for this program. Then the state has to implement it, but the USDA, they make the rules. They make the timing, they make the days. I mean, it's very stringent on how we have to implement this program. So counties in the West, I don't know that there's been any counties in the West who've ever done it before. At least from the directors that we've talked to, and Chris is shaking his head, he's been here the longest, and he doesn't remember us ever doing it. And counties in the West, you just don't have these type of incidents where you have to implement this DSNAP. It is I won't say very, but it's more common in the East where you have the hurricanes and the long-lasting recovery times. And so the eastern counties are the ones who've implemented this program. And so it was new to not only our agency, but to all of the western counties that implemented it. I will say that the eastern counties were very helpful. I was able to talk to several of the directors in the eastern counties and say, what do we do?
What do we do?
Like, what's the best way to implement this? Because we had to go from nothing to putting this together in, how many days notice do we have? I want to say 5 days notice, maybe.
It was not a full week. I don't
Yeah,
think.
It's been approved, and now it's going to start on the 18th.
And then you have to get the word out to
We have to get the word out.
community. Yeah.
With public information helped us. We had to get a site. That was the big deal, because there's no way we could have handled this volume in our agency. We went through 4 different places, I think, before someone mentioned the old Walgreens building that the county now owns, which turned out to be great. But at first you walk into that building, it's been deserted for, I don't know, years, and they've been using it for a training ground for law enforcement and firefighters. And so our maintenance department had to come in and mop, clean the carpets, get the bathrooms clean. I mean, it was a whole production. I mean, it was a production. And so we had 5 days to figure out how to run it. And so these counties in the east were very helpful in giving us advice on how they did it, sending us their plans, and us looking at that and figuring out, okay, what's going to work for us. And so we had some pretty long planning meetings and drawing things on the board that you wouldn't know what it was unless you were in the meeting. So it was pretty elaborate plans. And so anyway, and then we started on a Thursday, right? Started that Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning and went 7 days consecutive. There was no stop for 7 days. And so I'll let Brandy talk about how the rest of that went.
So it was complicated because we had never done it, but it was also complicated because we didn't know how many people do we need for this, how many people, because you have to have certain areas that, like registration, you have to make sure that the people that are coming through do not currently have benefits, because there's no point in them going through this whole process if they have benefits. You have to make sure that they're showing identification, because that was the only requirement for DSNAP, was having the identity requirement. So we have registration, then you go to a waiting area, and then you go to an interview, and then you go to a one-on-one interview. So there's all these requirements.
Special places for our 60-plus and disabled.
Yes, you have to have a special, and then everything has to be, available for a wheelchair. And, I mean, there was so many, and you have to have privacy when you're doing those individual interviews.
Yeah.
So there's so much that went into it, but I can say that our agency done a great job.
We killed it. I'm just going to be honest.
That's awesome.
It was a lot, and literally all the programs, everyone was helpful, and everyone was, and I think even though throughout those 7 days, the look on their face may have not always been happy, I think that they enjoyed it for the most part, and it was definitely a learning experience. And I want to briefly go over the numbers, and I know this has been sent out to you guys, but just to let the public know, we served in those 7 days, face-to-face, almost 5,000 individuals, so 5,000 families. So out of those, it was 4,973, and out of those, we only could not provide cards to 241 households.
Oh, my goodness.
Right.
So that tells you the amount of help that this program was for a lot of families. And the population that we served during this was those families that fall in that crack that we talk about a lot, that are making a little bit too much to qualify, but not enough to truly live in this economy right now.
Especially to replace everything that they lost.
Right. And I mean, we heard some very, very sad stories, and it was hard, but it was also very rewarding to be able to help those families. So
I think it's important to brag on our staff and how many compliments they received just throughout this whole process, not only from the public, but also from USDA, who came in multiple days and said that our process was very efficient, and we had run, it was fantastic, was the word that they used.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
very helpful.
We was very nervous.
So they had a representative each day? They had a representative?
They had 2 representatives.
Okay.
3 days, I think 3 days on site. They were there on our last day, which was at 4 o'clock when we closed, when we stopped taking people into the parking lot, because if they were in the parking lot at 4 o'clock, we saw them.
Okay.
We had 145 people in line at 4 o'clock, and we were done by 5. I mean, that's how.
Well, I was going to ask what the turnaround time was to get somebody in and out. So it sounds like it was relatively
By that time,
fast.
it was running like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like we were.
Towards the end of the day, when it hit 4 o'clock, we started just
cranking it out.
I mean, it was fast through the whole day,
Yeah.
but when it got 4 o'clock, we knew these people needed to get home, and we wanted to get done, because not to mention, we had all these people at the site working. We also had a whole bunch of people at the agency working, keying the applications to try to get them completed, so that next morning these families have benefits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was going to
not-
ask, how quickly did they receive that help then? So right away, it sounds like.
Well, we
like-
done our very best to get it done by the next business day, or the next day.
That's awesome.
We had 6 people in the back room at the site with scanners, and as soon as the application got finished and approved, they were scanning it back to the office to be keyed. We also had Craven County, who helped us key applications, and Chatham County, who helped us key. I think the last day we sent 300 to Chatham.
And 200.
And 200 to Craven, so that we could get through them that last day.
Did they just offer that help? Oh.
Yeah, they were paired, some of the eastern counties were paired with the western counties, since
Okay.
this was, which was something great that the state really pushed and that the Directors Association pushed. Because, again, none of us had experience, and they all had experience. And so they were very helpful. And now we know, because we've talked about this a couple times, whenever it happens in the east again, we are going to be one of those counties that say, let us help you.
Yes.
Because now we know what it is, and we know how to do it. Before we wouldn't have had a clue, but now we.
Hopefully, we'll never have to do it
Hopefully,
again.
we'll never have to do it again.
But it would, we can offer help.
It was a great learning experience. I think, I'll say I enjoyed it. I think that for the most part, we all kind of enjoyed it. It was something very different. It was also very nice to have people say thank you and be appreciative of what you're doing.
We had several individuals that wanted to speak with Kim directly to say how good the process was and how helpful.
And that's
like,
not something
and
usually
nice.
they want to speak to the director about.
I'm sure, yeah.
So, yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, to be able to help people, especially during what so many people went through, to be able to help people, that's such a nice thing, yeah. I'm sure
Our
that felt
bodies
good.
didn't feel great, but we didn't sit down for, 9 days straight, probably?
Yeah, it was rough, but it's also rewarding.
It was very.
So currently what we're doing is, we're doing cleanup from the DSNAP, so we're doing those replacements, because what we did, after the first day, we realized that a lot of people was coming in that had current benefits. And so we had a section set off for them to do replacements, those forms that normally they would have to go back to the agency and fill out and turn in. So we set up a little area to where they would apply, they could do that replacement there and turn that paperwork in. So now we're going through those, we're getting those completed. And we also have a DSNAP work queue that where people had went and pre-registered online. And the call center was to call them and complete the interview and do that application for them. And I think maybe they just wasn't prepared for the number of people that done that. And a lot of people would just, well, I won't say a lot, less than half, but some of the people would come to the site and do the process there after pre-registering because they just wanted to go ahead and get that done.
Yeah. I will say the call center was run by the state. It was something that the state, it's a great idea. I think it's needed. They probably should have tested it a little bit more before they threw it out in the midst of this disaster, especially with counties that have never done it before. So they started this call center just very quickly, and the eastern counties were manning it because they were asked to volunteer to do it, and so they did, but the state was responsible for the call center. We had a lot of, complaints about you can't get through, you can't get anyone to answer, I can hear them, they can't hear me, and so a lot of those people ended up coming to the site, and honestly, they had pre-registered, but they had to go through the whole process at the site too, so.
What were the ways that you got the word out? I never heard all the different ways that you got word out to the community.
So, PI helped us with that with Facebook. We sent a reverse 911 call out. We sent it out on the Parent Square. Is it called the Parent Square? On throughout the schools. They did also a call with the parents in the schools. We put flyers. I know Yokeville and some of the community agencies had flyers out. But I tell you what probably helped the most is word of mouth. Because that first day, we were expecting to drive up to the site and there'd be a line. But there wasn't. And the first half of the day was pretty slow. And we thought, I was kind of a little disappointed because I thought, this is going to be fat, we're going to be serving all these people.
But then word started to spread.
Exactly. Toward the end of that day, people started coming in. And then the next day, every day it grew, and the last day was our heaviest day. So word of mouth in that, this is really helpful. You know, people hear
That's
it and they
good.
think they're not eligible. And then by the last day, we had so many people because they said, we never thought we would be eligible. And
Right.
we were cleaning up there yesterday. We had 3 people stop by in a matter of 5 minutes asking about it.
Wow. Okay.
And so that was what would help the most. And so I wish they would have started it, again, USDA chose these days and times. I wish they would have started it on a Monday and ran it through the weekend instead of starting a Thursday.
Mhm.
Because on that last weekend, you would have had,
Mhm.
I think, more opportunity for people to come. But we had
It's definitely an experience.
almost 5,000
Yeah.
people, so.
I bet.
And that's just families. That doesn't include the amount of people in those families that
Right.
were being helped. And
Do
we
you
had
have a
that
sense of how much
information.
that equates to? as far
I'm
as
sure
dollar
we'll
amount?
get some numbers,
Mhm. It'll be
once we get
interesting.
everything completed. We have, Elizabeth has, she's got some Medicaid staff working, our queue, because we had quite a bit still left in that queue from the call center, so we're trying to get all that stuff wrapped up. You have to make 3 attempts to call these families,
Okay.
before we can go through the process. So she has some staff working that, she's working that. We have another county, Alexander County's helping us with that as well. So once we get everything completed, then we'll go.
You'll have final
We'll have
numbers,
some more
yeah.
numbers at that point, and then all of the cards get distributed and all that. Because they have to, once we do it through that queue, it has to be, the state has to overnight that card, because we can't keep that card at that point, so. We're working on all that now, and we are to have that done by Friday, so hopefully by next month, I'll have all the numbers and can give you some exact numbers.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions?
Yeah, good work.
So I just want to say, I know Brittany's talked about our staff, and I just want to reiterate how great our staff are that we work with. And I appreciate Brittany thanking us, but they've worked really hard too. This is also coming on the end of not only have our staff worked this DSNAP really hard, and I know that's recent and we've remembered that, but not just weeks before that, our staff worked the shelter that was set up from the hurricane that came through. And so we had to man that shelter as well, our staff did. And so not only did they step up and do that, then weeks later, not even, I don't know how much longer later, they stepped up and helped man our DSNAP. And so
Well, and your own
we've been
employees
very active.
were dealing with their own personal
Sure, right.
situations too. No power and, yeah.
So
yeah.
we've been really busy,
Yeah.
you know, the last month and a little over a month. But, you know, our staff have really stepped up and worked really hard. So we work with some wonderful, amazing people.
It's
So I
been
just
a
wanna say
true teamwork
It has.
effort. I mean, it really has been nice to see. And really, we haven't heard any complaints. I mean, really, we haven't. We have one lady at the office who lost everything during this flood, and she was there working DSNAP.
And I'll say those
So-
staff that were in office working those applications was there till 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And some of those supervisors would take work home with them. I mean, and they still have a family. They still have
They didn't have
issues that they're
power.
dealing
They might
with.
have lost
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah.
So it definitely shows the staff that we have.
Yeah, the commitment
Yes.
to that public service
Yeah.
that we have. So,
We're very fortunate.
Honorable.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank everyone for us, that, you know, for all that they've done and just for the positive feedback. I like this because, you know, so much of the time we talk about how the community doesn't necessarily know all that you guys do. And so it's really nice in a time like this when there is a crisis where they get to see what you are
Right.
capable of and get to see the faces and talk to the people and, you know, have a lot of positive feedback going back out into the community through that word of mouth.
exactly. And I don't want to continue to, but I will say that we had, I think Casey had said, people had asked her, who's doing this? You know,
Yes,
while they
I
were
heard
there
that
at the
several times.
location.
Where do you
Who's
actually
doing this?
work?
Who are you guys?
Oh, really?
They didn't even know that it was
the
social
agency
services.
Oh.
So we had to say, I think Casey said to someone, we're DSS. And we're like,
"Are you
oh.
volunteers?" And we're like, "No, we're your local DSS, we're Caldwell DSS.
Ah.
And they're
And they-
like, "Oh my goodness."
I know. We should have said something like Caldwell DSS presents DSNAP. I don't know. To put on our sign, I don't know, but yeah, so they had no idea.
We got
And so-
asked that several times.
Wow.
Our
Okay.
community was also fabulous.
Yeah.
Because we know there were long lines and they, you know, we told them, we promise it gets, you'll be here less time than you're in line at Carowinds, we promise. And they were just all just
Oh, you're fine, don't worry about it, yeah.
Thanked us, especially once we explained, because most of them didn't realize they would qualify for anything, which is why they were just kind of ignoring the program to begin with. And they were just so happy and thankful, and
That's so good.
it was one of those times where it's like, we've done good.
Yeah.
We did really good.
And I'll say too, we had, the hospital helped, Jarrell set up, we had wheelchairs donated to RHA. We had a therapist there the first day and then a therapist on call the other days. We had law enforcement had security on site every day. Our emergency management had a paramedic on site every day. Our maintenance, like I said, what they did. Honestly, Jimmy Harrison himself was the one who did the most. And then Isaac, our new manager, they came in daily. They emptied the trash. It was just, and then our emergency management, Jeff Caldwell and Vic Messenheimer, they helped us with radios, which we loved.
Kim loved the radios.
I did. So they helped us, they brought food in, or snacks for our staff, water for the citizens. It was just so much that everyone did.
I think sometimes during a crisis, that's when people shine, and bonding really happens. I do.
Yeah.
I think a community can bond sometimes
Yeah.
over a big crisis like this.
Our IT came in and set up, they brought MiFis for us and set all that up, and brought laptops and set up for our scanners, and and I'm sure there's probably somebody I'm missing.
The health department loaned us
Oh, yeah.
their
Interpreters.
sick.
And some of their interpreters.
Yes, and their
Oh,
interpreters.
and some of their interpreters, yes, that was invaluable. We had, at some point, we had, 8 to 10 interpreters there at a time, because we had so many Spanish-speaking individuals that needed assistance. And, we actually started a classroom in the middle of the Walgreens we had a microphone, luckily, because Public Information brought us a microphone, and we rented one. And we had our interpreters going through the applications on a microphone for our Spanish-speaking population, because there were so many at one time that needed help. There's so much we could talk about,
The
but
other thing too, and I guess I'm giving Kim a pat on the back, but I think
That's
it
okay.
was nice for employees to see her and what she did.
Yes.
She was parking cars, she was getting food, she was doing interviews, she was cleaning bathrooms. She was doing everything that she was asking of us to do. And I think that's important for employees to see that, she's leading us and she's willing to get down there and do whatever it takes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
But it was really an experience. And
Definitely.
I can say as,
Oh, yeah. National Guard came, and they happened to be here in the county, and so whenever they brought all the food donated, they had a pallet of food and water, and so they were the ones unboxing it and putting it out for us. They also helped.
I can say as an agency who had staff that were also impacted, right? Like, we had staff that went and applied for DSS benefits. And the gratitude, I guess, as an organization that also gives back, right? Those are often those folks that really don't, they're in that middle ground.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily meet qualifications on the front end
Right.
for regular benefits, but so many of our staff came over and applied, and we're so grateful that they then were able to replace,
Yeah.
right, things that were in their home. And it was just it was a neat experience to see folks that had been really kind of downtrodden about how things had impacted, and getting back to work and just getting right back into things. But then at the end of the week, to be able to, I had folks come in and they're like, woohoo, look at this. They were like, we didn't think we were going to qualify. And so, and everybody that went over, whether it was folks that came through our doors or staff, came back and said, right, like how smooth it went, how friendly everybody was, how quick, even though they knew they were going to have to wait, how quick the process was to get through. So, job well done.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
All right. Any more questions, any more comments? We good? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, our next board meeting will be Tuesday, November 26th, 2024 at 5 p.m. at the Alden E. Starnes County Office here in Lenoir. All right, and do I make a motion to, okay. Need a motion to adjourn? Second. All right. All right. That adjourns.